Hello students, today we're going to be starting quarter 3, which is where we're looking at nonfiction. These skills related to reading nonfiction are a little bit different than what we have been reading with fiction and poetry. So we're just going to briefly go over everything that we have learned so far, the main reading skills, and then also talk about what we will be covering this quarter. Alright, so what we have learned so far when dealing with fiction in quarter 1 and poetry in quarter 2 is we're dealing with these main lessons. There was a few other lessons as well, but these are the main ones. First one being reading comprehension. So that is the ability to be able to understand a fictional text or poem. We also dealt with theme, so being able to find a theme or life lesson of a text. We dealt with evidence, being able to find and use the best evidence or quote to prove a statement. Words and phrases, the ability to be able to figure out the meaning of words and phrases in a fiction text or in poetry. Complex character, being able to figure out the causes and effects of a character's complexity. Author's reasoning, the ability to see why an author made certain choices about their text. Comparing artistic mediums, being able to compare how a topic is presented in two different passages. So that's all that we have covered in terms of the main skills for fiction. So now we're going to go ahead and look at what we're going to be covering in nonfiction. Alright, so with nonfiction, it's kind of similar, but we still want to go over them as there is a few differences between fiction and nonfiction that we will be covering this quarter. First of all, reading comprehension for nonfiction, so just being able to understand a nonfiction text, so pretty similar to the last one for fiction. Main idea, being able to find the main point that an author is making, so a little bit different than theme, but similar. Words and phrases, being able to figure out the meaning of words and phrases in nonfiction. Comparing mediums, being able to compare how a topic is presented in two different sources. Author's reasoning, being able to figure out the logic and order of reasoning an author uses, so that's a pretty new one there. And author's use of language, being able to figure out how an author's use of language affects a text. And evidence/research, being able to find and or research facts or quotes that prove a statement. So you'll see that there's a lot of kind of overlap between fiction and nonfiction reading. There are also a few new things that we'll be dealing with, and even with the old stuff there will be some new aspects of it that we'll have to kind of figure out how to mitigate. But otherwise, that is what we will be covering for this quarter. One final note about quarter 3 is that we will be focusing on nonfiction, yes, but we will still incorporate fiction and poetry just so that you can continue to have practice to go ahead and master those skills as well, to continue to improve in those. Our focus on nonfiction will also mean that those new skills I just mentioned will start popping up in the questions that we do each week. So you will see those questions as well as obviously your data, your results on those questions reflected in the mastery section of Schoology. So just keep an eye out for all of those so you can see your feedback and how you're doing in each of these skills. That is it for today though, and I will see you next time.